Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Let's Talk Film, a series where contemporary women get a chance to have their voices heard on the latest film releases. Today, we'll be discussing Dee Rees' directorial debut, Pariah. We're shooting at the Manhattan branch of Pops of Brooklyn, a popular restaurant that many consider a burger institution. It's located here on East 8th Street in Greenwich Village, while the original eatery is in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Surrounded by the expansive campus of New York University, it's also only a few steps away from Washington Square Park and the busy intersections of Broadway. Offering up a range of burgers, hot dogs, noteworthy appetizers, and sandwiches, Pops of Brooklyn is sure to please. Let's go inside and try a little something.
Hi, welcome. My name is Taylor Adorno. I'm the front house manager here at Pops of Brooklyn. Welcome. This location has been here for 5 months now. We have another location coincidentally on North 8th in Bedford. That's been open for 3.5 years now. The concept of Pops and Pops of Brooklyn in general is based on the owner John Seymour's father, Martin Seymour, who was a huge influence to his life. He basically dedicated this restaurant to his father. That's why it's called Pops. You'll see that inside all of our benches and tables are made from salvaged wood from Brooklyn homes and in Red Hook, like the docks in Red Hook, which is great because we were able to reuse some of the wood from Brooklyn, which is where his father is from. And it's very cozy. Our dim lighting and smooth music and makes you feel really at home, and that's what we really want here to do at Pops, is make you feel like you are at home with the comforting food as well as the environment. We really want you to feel like you are at home. A little bit about the food. We make comfort foods, like I said and I highlighted before. We want to make you feel like these are things that you can make at home as well as if you were here. Our famous burger is our Pops burger. All of our burgers are made from brisket beef from La Frida and are made with lettuce, tomato, onions, pickles, and a potato bun that we get from Martin's, which is a local bakery. We try to be as local as possible and make all of our sauces in-house. So another thing that we do in-house is our veggie burger. Our veggie burger is made of bulgur wheat, cornmeal, flour, roasted red peppers, roasted onions, roasted corn, mushrooms, and secret spices that I cannot tell you. And that's made in here, and so I think it really makes a difference when you have food that's made in-house and made with love than just sauces and ingredients that are from outdoors. And I think that's what really sets us apart from other burger joints or dive bars or anything like that, that we make everything in-house, so you really can taste the love and the effort that we put inside. Our cheese fries, and a lot of the cheese that we use here, it's called a cheddar bechamel. So we use that for the cheese fries, the chili cheese fries, Philly cheese steaks, which is our top contender. And that's just a cheddar with a roux. And so that's, again, even our upstairs downstairs cheese sauce is homemade. All French fries are fun. They're string French fries, like if you were a kid and you had when you were younger. And we also use Boylan's root beer, which is a lot, better, and it's made with cane sugar and not all that cornstarch stuff. So it's a lot more enjoyable. We really love our locals and NYU students and everybody who comes to make really Pops of Brooklyn the family. And if you can see that because we not only have pictures around the restaurant of the owner's family and the owner's wife's family, it's also the customers we have here. We ask people to bring us a picture of them and their Pops, and we hang it up so that you can all become one big part of our family here at Pops as well. So yeah, welcome.
Let's meet our panelists. To my left, I have Carolyn Honeychild Coleman.
Hello.
Directly in front of me is Yolanda Shoshana.
Hi.
Rounding out our panel today is Hima B.
Hello. Today's film we'll be reviewing is Dee Rees' directorial debut, Pariah. So there are so few films that explore the experience of African American women within the mainstream. Do you feel this film bridges the acceptance for more?
No, I think this is a great opportunity because they see that it works. It's got that universal thing that universal theme, I think, is where people go, oh, because it didn't even matter what color people were.
Yeah, right.
And that's the thing that I think is the beauty of it, as well as great, they're black. And everybody was talented.
Yeah.
It was just so well done, well written. So I think that it can show Hollywood, we don't have to shoot each other. We don't have to be hoes. Look, we have real family and stories, like everybody else. So, they weren't the Cosbys, but here we go. So I just think that it's a great opportunity, and it was just so well done that how could a studio, if somebody goes, I got something good similar, how can they not pay attention?
Right. I think it's also interesting that Alike's family wasn't tragic. Even though she was dealing with an internal conflict, she came from a family where all the members lived together. It was very stable. It's not an image Americans really used to see. The other thing I like too is I feel like the female characters weren't male, like fantasy versions. Like, oh, this is a male version of what it means to be a lesbian or to be a teenage girl. They're very natural. It's very real and very relatable.
And also too, it took me a while, like as I was watching the film, I was like, wow, everyone's black, but the issue of race is not coming up.
Right.
But after a while, I was like, it's so not even. I mean, it's there, but it's very subtle, and it's not like it's not also to this question of am I black or am I gay, and having to choose between that. It was like I'm black and I'm gay, and this is what's happening. And I like that difference that happened. Whereas I think in a lot of other coming out stories, it's usually about which identity are you going to choose, and having to choose between the two.
So the film is definitely called Pariah, which describes people that are considered outcasts. Does this film reflect the relationship between the LGBT community and American society?
I think it depends on where you live in America, to be quite honest. This is such a Brooklyn story to me. I see girls like Alike every day and like Laura every day, and I see them being really comfortable in their setting and in their identity. But I feel like if you're not in a major urban or more liberal city, you might not have that experience. You might face a bit more diversity and resistance.
You know, I think each of the characters even has a little bit of that pariah in it.
Right.
I mean, there's a dad who's slinkering around, and he's, you know, I mean, we don't know what his secrets are, but, you know, and the mom doesn't feel accepted either. So, you know, there's elements in each of the characters, but of course, I mean, it's about the central character.
One of the stories I thought was most poignant was Laura and her mother.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And her mother.
Yes.
There are so many times when I was in high school, where, you know, growing up in New York City, where I would hear stories of young people getting kicked out of their homes and being homeless because their parents didn't accept them. One of my favorite films is Paris is Burning, and you see these two young kids in the film, and, you know, they're out roaming the streets because their parents had picked them out because of their sexual identity orientation.
Right.
Well, I was just going to say that I think that in the gay and lesbian community, I think it will be a film that will be a defining point in gay and lesbian cinema. So I can see that being, you know, being transformative in that area. And I think it's also, too, I mean, there have been a few feature films about lesbians. Very few black lesbians. And so I think that it just shows that also too that there's so many more stories.
Yes.
And so I think there's going to be more of a hunger to know about those other stories, and it'll, you know, be inspiring to future writers and directors to kind of maybe even think locally of like their own personal stories or their own communities.
So the media has drawn a relationship between Precious and Pariah. Do you agree with this analysis, or do you feel these are totally separate ends of the Black experience? And why do you think critics are so hasty to form this comparison?
I think, well, from a point of view of they're both young and it's a Black woman's story, because, I mean, unfortunately critics do that. It's like, oh, it's a Black story, they're both young, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So some critics will do that because they either haven't really seen it or they haven't digested it. And as there aren't as many stories about us on the screen, so of course they're going to compare the two. It's always a comparison of the two.
I mean, they're both young Black women in New York City, dealing with conflict at home, and they both kind of have a counselor / guidance person who's an outside source. That's about the end of the comparison for me. Like, they couldn't be more opposite.
Yeah.
But they use poetry
Oh,
as a
yes.
way to express
The
themselves.
poetry,
But,
definitely.
I'll be honest with you, I
Yeah.
was actually highly annoyed when I heard this comparison made.
Yes.
I'm highly annoyed. It's because a film, has a Black female lead, we're gonna, draw a parallel. It just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work. I think that's lazy.
It is lazy.
I feel that that's lazy on the part of media critics, and I feel like they should do a better job of, displaying a story.
I think it's an American critic thing, because the reviews I've read from outside of this country, no one mentions Precious.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Not one.
Well. Now I want to take a moment and go into another aspect of the film, which is the music. So Carolyn, you actually helped out in a capacity with the soundtrack for this film. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience?
Yes, I actually heard from the director and her producer Nikisa about a year ago last summer, when they were looking for music for the film, and I was connecting them through James Scooter, who did Afro Pop. And they kind of reached out and let him know they wanted to put together a female-focused soundtrack. Did he know of anyone? And he had the one CD that my band ever made and gave it to them.
Wow.
So I got an email saying, hey, we really like your music. Can you tell us more about this song? And the song that they chose is my favorite song that I did with that band. Like 2 notes in, I'm like, I can't believe they chose this. The song is so cinematic, and it's in kind of a crucial scene in the film as well. So once they picked that song, they went and started looking at more of my music and picked another song that I did solo. The way they mixed the music into the film kind of blew me away. Just for all the music in general. But I never knew when my music was coming. I was so wrapped into the story, and suddenly I just started crying. Like, wow, this is so perfect. They really thought it out. That band on Dyslexia, we did like a demo, but we never really put any music out. So it feels like, in a way, it's a nice reward to know that we did something together that we love, and finally people get to hear it. And because they chose my song Echelon, I actually released it later.
Okay.
So I knew the film was coming out, so I wanted to kind of spread the word a little bit.
Of course.
Well, thanks so much for giving us this insight. I think that was a dynamic part of the film. So, did you notice in your experience any particular reactions from the audience members that kind of stood out to you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, without giving it away too much, she wants to impress a girl.
Yeah.
Right.
Olivia wants to impress a girl, and so she wants to become more masculine.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And so I thought that was the one scene that I think everybody in the audience was just. I mean, it's like a very vulnerable moment for Alike, but it's still funny.
It was extremely comical.
Yeah.
I love that scene so much.
So I think overall, you all had a pretty positive experience at the movie.
I think I was the only person of color in the movie theater when I went.
Oh,
at Lincoln Center.
wow.
A couple of older white people, a nice little, Jewish friends over on the side. I was the only person of color.
Wow.
No, I take that back. There was one young boy. I forgot about him because he was so quiet and just very.
Did you happen to look at any of the reactions after the film?
Everybody loved it.
Okay.
They were like, oh my God. And the other 2 women, they just wanted to see the credits. There was an older gentleman. He was watching all the credits, standing there like, I'm very appreciative of the film, I think. And it could be where I saw it. I mean, it's Lincoln Center. I mean, you never know what you're going to get there, but it could be just the appreciation of the art.
Yeah.
But they all loved it.
Well, thank you, ladies, for sharing with me this afternoon. I appreciate you all being here and sharing your thoughts on the film. I want to thank John Seymour for allowing us to shoot here in Costa, Brooklyn. We have been discussing Dee Rees' directorial debut of Pariah. This has been another episode of Let's Talk Film. Check us out at www.letstalkfilm.com.